Welcome to episode 2 of Trading is What I Do. I am your host, Jose Pagalan, aka JP, aka 702 Forex, and I am the founder of the trading apparel. Trading is What I Do. Now, for episode 2, we have Dilpreet Chahal, also known as Fearless FX on Instagram. He's a well known, respected trader, and he just keeps it real. I mean, this interview was fantastic. He talks about his journey of becoming the trader that he is now, talks about a lot of key things. So when you listen to his journey, listen to it because it's nothing but facts, talking about structures and how trading is mental and how, you know, how his life is outside of the charts. Like everything that he describes is exactly what you need to hear. And some people would charge to hear information like this, but you get it free here on this channel with him. And he also talks about his Udemy courses, and he goes into a little bit his trading style, which is scalping. So I hope you guys enjoy this episode. It's a fantastic episode. I think you're going to learn a lot. So don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, leave a like, and let me know what you think. But the fact that you're watching this, I appreciate you. Mahalo, and enjoy the interview. Welcome to Trading is What I Do, episode 2. Today I have Dilpreet Chahal, also known as Fearless FX on Instagram. Thank you for being on this show. I really appreciate you. But I'm gonna go ahead and let you introduce yourself. How long you've been trading, your trading journey, and all that good stuff. Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah. No, first of all, thank you for having me. So my name is Dilpreet Chahal. Again, I'm going by Fearless FX. My trading journey started about 3 years ago, but I wouldn't consider myself to be trading for 3 years because when I first started, it was kind of like an infatuation. Like I saw how I actually got hooked into Forex was is a company actually called Infinite Prosperity, and they were very flashy. Right, they were driving Lambos, they were young, they were looking all fancy, right, doing their thing, and it was like the way they sold it like really spoke to me actually, and the funnel that they got me through. It was a YouTube video called like how to invest $1,000, right? Because that's what I had searched for. I had $1,000 laying around, like how can I invest this? And through that funnel, like that's what got me introduced to Forex. So I jumped in. Like I liked what they talked about investing. Like they said great things. So I'm very fortunate to have found that, because without it, I would have never started on this journey. But overall, their company, it was more marketing than anything. It was more like, yeah, like we're doing this. And then, at the time it looked awesome. And then you look back at it now, it's like, this is just like baby pips, right? Like the course wasn't anything special. I just had, a couple of little extra things. But I'm grateful that they kind of introduced me to Forex, because that's awesome. So when I first started, again, like my first trade, it was my first demo trade, I won. Right. So like right off the bat, like it was probably just a stroke of luck. Got super excited, and that's kind of what got me like hooked. Right. Because it's okay. I won right away. My demo count was up. Like it was $10,000. It was fake money. Right. So I'm super excited. Like this Forex thing's awesome. Like I'm going to change my life. Like, because even when, let's say, like, I went through that Forex course or the Infinite Prosperity course, and they're like, yeah, like most traders, it takes them like 2 years to get to be killing it, and then some traders can do it in like 3 or 4, and like I just had in my mind like 3 or 4 months, like that's it, I'm going to be loaded in like 3 or 4 months, right? Like I'm going to be one of those guys. So that was basically like the start of my journey. And then as soon as I started trading live, I ended up losing like 7 trades in a row, right? So that was actually very, very heartbreaking, like going live. But again, that's how this game gets you. I lost 6 trades in a row. My 7th trade, I actually won, and I won it all back. Like all my losses, I got back. And looking back, I wish I would have just like kept losing, because that probably would have made me a better trader faster. But like that one win just like, again, brought me back. Like I was super buffed up again. Oh, like I can easily make all my money back, even if I lose all this, blah, blah, blah. Right. Yeah. So it was like, when I first started, it was all waves, right? Like I'd crash, like I'd have all these losses and I'd be like just demoralized, right? I'd be everybody that's getting all these trades, I'd be missing all these trades, and I'd just like stop trading for a month, stop trading, and then I'd start again for a month, and I'd stop trading for like 2-3 months, right? And then come back to it again and just like leave it again. So my first, I would even say like a year and a half of trading was that way, where I wasn't like very, very consistent. And looking back, like that's the one thing I would recommend for people is like, if you can, as soon as you start, and like, if I would have stuck with it and done everything that, as much as I was bashing that course, like they did tell me everything. They did tell all the right things, right? Like make sure you're journaling all your trades. Like I had all the basics. They told us good risk management, right? Like never risk more than 1%. So they did set us up for success on like the emotional, mental, and risk management side. But trading wise, it wasn't really much help. So luckily, I was able to stay in the game because of that training. It just wasn't enough to, keep me consistent. So it kept me going through like that roller coaster. And then it just got to a point where, I was like, this is like now or never, right? Like I keep going into this, I keep going out of this. I need to just like make up my mind and like stick with it.
Yeah.
Right. So I had been doing it for like 1.5 years, and then I had another stint for, it was like 4 or 5 months where again, right, I was like going really hard, and then it just wasn't like progressing as I would have liked, because most people, like let's say you or I or anybody, right, you go to any random job and you put in like your heart and soul for like 4 or 5 months, and you're really not getting anywhere. It's quite demoralizing, right? So again, like just went downhill for a couple months again. And then that's when I just kind of decided, this was about maybe just a bit over a year ago. That's when I started Fearless FX. And that's when I like really started taking things seriously. And when I thought I was taking things seriously before, then I wasn't really properly journaling and reviewing and doing all those things. Like I took it up a whole different level. That's when I realized like I was still screwing around. I wasn't as serious as I was at the start. And then as soon as I started like really taking it seriously, like my trading just improved. Like it was more of like a mental thing. I just started gaining that confidence as soon as I started following all the processes properly. Because like as much as I think I would have said before that like the first year and a half, like, oh yeah, I was trying, like I knew I wasn't really giving it my all. And I think that was still, holding me back in a sense, like that confidence. I was lying to myself basically, right? And when you're lying to yourself, you can only lie to yourself for so long. So I think, there's still going to be like in your mind, there's going to be something holding you back when you are lying to yourself like that. So I kind of had to get over that, and really it's ego at the end of the day. I kind of had to let that ego go. And it's still there, right? I think it's impossible to just let it go completely. But that's when I really started taking strides. And that's when it was like, okay, I'm not going to jump from strategy to strategy anymore. I'm going to kind of go into one thing and like stick with it and really learn this before I started advancing anywhere. And then I had joined another community, a great community. And then from there, I had really learned like market structure, like how to trade structure. And that's what really started changing my game. And like what had the biggest things I learned in that community was like back testing as well. So putting in time on the charts, like actually properly testing, having a mechanical and like rule-based approach. So it's like you're only trading if X, Y, Z happens, or X, I had rules, because before that I wasn't always like, my rules they weren't so concrete, right? And I was very discretional. So I had to go, and like this mechanical approach for a little bit is what really, I think, boosted my trading. Because it was like, it's either this or that. If it fits the plan, you take it. If it doesn't, you're not taking it.
Very much.
And yeah, and I moved more to like discretionary now again. I'm not saying like fully discretionary, but more bits and pieces. But I think for any newer trader or somebody who wants consistency, like having that mechanical approach is very crucial. Because I think one of the biggest things for me was like, when do you take profits? I think that's, for me, has always been from the start, like one of the harder things. it's like how do I trail my stop loss, right? Like where do you take profits? Because a lot of people, I would have trades that were huge winners and then they'd come all the way down.
Yeah.
Right. Or I would trail my stop too tight and it would take me out and then go. So it was, that was always a constant battle with me. So having a rule-based and mechanical approach without much discretion, it really helped me because it got me into the mindset of like, if I follow all my rules and I still lose, like that's fine. Mm-hmm. So that's when I first finally actually became okay with losing, because it was like, I've done everything I could. Even if it taps me out, like it's like, okay, whatever. Because I know if I keep following this consistently, that's what's really gonna make me successful. Like it was the process. And then from there, I would say near the end of last year, I was really liking that strategy. That's when I really started gaining that consistency. Really started like improving my trading. And then somebody I know, one of my friends, he had started up Phantom Trading. So they were all of a sudden talking about smart money and all these other things. And I just really liked him as a person. So I went and joined that community. And since then, I've been trading that style. I'm not in that community anymore. I'm not in any communities like trading community was, because I've kind of realized like at the end of the day, I want to be like an independent thinker when I'm trading. So even when I was a part of this community, like I really liked being around everybody and I liked all the people. Great community. It's just when I'm watching, like there was always like weekly forecasts of like, this is what's going to potentially happen, or things like that, and then it would just mess with my mind actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Like because I would see it and these people are looking for this setup, and then all of a sudden I would be looking for the same thing. And even if I would think like, okay, I actually don't think this is what's going to happen, like I want to trade it the other way. But then I couldn't execute on those trades because I had seen these videos, like these weekly videos that were like, no, everybody's going, like, we're going to short. This is going to be a big short. And I'm just like, I want to go long, but like, I couldn't get past, like my mentors are saying, don't, like they're all going short right now. Why would I be going long? So that's why I think like that's the one downside of communities, right? Like we're following other people in a sense. Because if they're going one way and you have a different idea, it's going to be a bit of a battle in your mind, like it was for me.
Back to ego.
So, yeah, 100%, right? But I don't know, at least for me, it's very hard when a whole community is like, no, we're going this way, and then you want to go the other way, even if like I ended up being right, or it doesn't matter, right? Yeah. But so, yeah, anybody looking to join communities, I would say like, it is very beneficial when you're first starting out and maybe growing as a trader. There comes a point where I think you need to be an independent thinker, because at the end of the day, like you're trading yourself. There's nobody who's going to be telling you like, take this trade now or don't take this trade now. At the end of the day, like you have to make those decisions. So once, I had my basic fundamentals, I learned them and I knew the processes, and I kind of just like, and another thing with communities, like as good as it is helpful, like Discords and Telegrams, they can be, again, they can mess with your mind as well, because you log on Discord in the morning and again, everybody's shorting and you want to go long, right? Like it's hard to go against everybody. Even if your plan's there, everything's played out and your trading plans as X, Y, Z has happened, it's time for you to trade, take this long. Just because everybody else is shorting, it's just like, it's really hard, right? Because you're like, oh, there's all these great traders that are doing this. And like, why would I go against them? Yeah. Even great traders are wrong, right? So and then that brings me here. So now I'm basically just, I actually learned with Phantom, I learned smart money concepts. So it's more focused on liquidity is what I started learning. Liquidity, like order blocks, it's basically like supply and demand. Mm-hmm. Supply and demand and liquidity, that's the main focus of like smart money concepts. Along with what I really focus on now, which I kind of learned in Phantom, and then I've kind of just observing. That's one of my biggest things now is like, now that I'm more independent, it's like, I just observe the market. Yeah. And through observation is like, that's actually how you get better. You need to observe observing the market is actually the most important thing. So when I left the community, I didn't even trade for a little while. I didn't take any live trades. I just observed price action like day after day, at that same time every single day, and just kind of observed okay, I started seeing patterns, and this is what happens at this time usually, or this happens. So I got used to just observation, not even getting entries. Once you can observe that, you start seeing these patterns. It becomes more subconscious. I became confident in taking the entries. So that just basically brings me here now. So the biggest thing there, I would say, is observation is super, super crucial. Not only on the charts. So by observation, I mean take some time every day, maybe New York Open, whenever it is, just be in front of the charts and be watching. Maybe because I trade a lower time frame, it's a bit different. If I'm trading on the 5 minute, I want to see these candles go up and down, see how they're getting people caught out all of a sudden going one way, and it completely turns the other way, right? Because I'm not going to be trading on a moving candle like that anyway, but it's just good to see what the heck is happening in the market. How are these people getting trapped? How are these people getting caught out? Because through observation, you are actually able to see that. And the biggest skill I've actually gained in the last couple of months is that observation skill. Not just in trading, but just everyday life. So now I'm walking around everywhere, just observe things, things I would have never noticed before. It's just I'm noticing how green some trees are, right? I'm noticing these cars, really looking deep, what color is that paint? It's not red, but it's it's a little bit different than red, or just everything. I've become more aware of things I'm looking at. I'm always looking around. Right, so if you're hanging out with me, we're outside, you'll be like, what the heck is this guy doing? Right? He's just looking around everywhere all the time. But I've noticed that the more I've done that, the better my observation skills have gotten with trading as well. So it kind of transfers both ways. So that skill of observation is the biggest thing I've learned in the last couple months. But that's kind of my trading journey up till now.
That's awesome. You pinpoint everything that a new trader and experienced trader should just talk about, right? I mean, I've been doing this for 7 years. First of all, that infinite prosperity, I got with them too when I first started off.
Yeah,
I got with them. I did the first course, and I was like, nope.
Yeah, I only did the first one too.
I think when I got with them, I was already trading 2 years.
Okay.
And the first thing they said was enter when the I remember the first course. I thought they said oh, you enter when the trading day first opens, and I'm like, well, that's when the spreads are high, and I just cut it off. Right, I didn't go any further. But I also like how you mentioned market structures, because I think when people say they stick with one strategy, right, I think it's fine to stick with one strategy, but you have to tweak things here and there, but you have to have a foundation, and that is what you don't change. You can tweak things like entries, exits, that fits your lifestyle, but you have to have a foundation. I think structure is the foundation of every strategy. You can do harmonics, manipulation. It all starts, with foundation, the structure. So that was pretty awesome to hear you say that. And you mentioned about trading is mental. It is mental, and I like how you also said how pretty much what I tell people, how you are off the charts will replicate what you do on the charts, right? So, if you want to build patience and discipline, you have to be like that off the charts, and it'll show on the charts. So when you say you observe outside the charts, you take that and you do it on the charts too. That's helped you as a trader. So those are whoever's listening, that right there. That right there on some courses will charge you $1,000, and you got it for free here. So that was fantastic.
Thank you.
I wanted to talk about, speaking of courses, I know you have a course on Udemy. I wanted to talk about that a little bit, because I know there are some people who are looking for courses, and there are some people who want to create courses. And I know there's Udemy, there's Teachable, I think there's Thinkific. So kind of explain, one, what courses you have on Udemy, and two, why did you choose that platform over other platforms to do your courses?
Okay, so the first course that I put up on Udemy was, I call it the Ultimate Forex Trading Course. So basically, it's a lot of what I took from Infinite Prosperity and like other courses I've taken in the past years, and kind of like all the best content that I've come across, I kind of put it into this course in all different functions. So it's all mixed and mangled. There's a lot of psychology, a lot of basic trading stuff. It is tailored more towards like newer traders for sure. Like I wouldn't say somebody who's been trading, if you're already consistent, it's definitely not a course for you, right? It's more for people who aren't seeing that consistency. You're having troubles gaining consistency. That's something to jump into, because I do focus on structure. I do focus on, it is still basic. I'm not going like too advanced, but to start gaining consistency, you don't need to go advanced, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of people think like, okay, I'm not consistent, I'm not profitable. Like I'm going to try to find the hardest thing out there and like try to master it. But like you want to focus on the basics first, because that's focus on the basics. Focus on just like if you can't even get 1% a month, right? Like what makes you think you're going to get 10% a month? So start small. Start with the basics. Just start looking at structure, looking at the fundamentals. That's what that course basically focuses on. So tailored towards new traders or people who are basically struggling. I think if you're brand new, like it's something that's going to guide you to start trading. So it's going to take you all through all the steps to actually open up a demo account at least and like start trading. And so I kind of go through step by step of how to do all that. And then my second course, it's not so. I actually got somebody to help me, like go on Udemy and do this kind of stuff. And they had told me like another good thing you can do. Some people only want to see technical analysis. Like you have this other course, they don't want to go through everything. Like they're just interested in technical analysis. So actually I repurposed that part of that course. So I always only recommend people, like if you're interested in technical analysis only, like then check that out. But if you want the whole deal, like go check out the full course, because you get all that and you get everything else that's included. Yeah, that's basically where the courses stand. Why I picked Udemy. The biggest thing for me, like I did want to actually do it all on my website. I had it set up on my website. And then it just came down to like, it's a lot of still marketing on my end and a lot of extra work on my end, which at the time, and even now, like I still want to focus more on my own trading and still improving.
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of picked Udemy. I knew it wasn't, because I actually made this course back when quarantine happened, like my first course, and it was just sitting there, right? Like I hadn't done anything with it. It's just sitting there collecting dust. So it's like, at the start of the year, my mindset was just kind of like, sorry, let me just take a step back. Like when I first started Fearless FX, my biggest thing was like, I'm going to start like a community, right? Like a mentorship program and like help people trade, have financial freedom, blah, 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 right? And so on, which I still want to do. But like near the end of last year, I just kind of shifted my mindset to like, just focus on the trading, focus on getting more funding from prop firms, focus on trying to build the biggest account you possibly can right now. And then worry about the mentorship and things like that. So to me, it was like, I have this digital asset. How can I get something with it? Like it's just sitting here. Like I've spent hours and hours. There's like 11 hours of content. So I've spent so many hours, so much time editing it, so much time doing this. Like, am I just going to let it collect dust? Right.
Yeah.
So it was just like, I'll throw it on Udemy. At least it's going to help beginner traders out quite a lot. I do think it's a really good course. I did put a lot of time and energy into it. And how I think of it is like, I spent thousands on courses, and that's like all packed into this. It's like $14 or like $15 for a Udemy course. Like I'm not trying to make millions off that course.
Yeah.
It's just something, it was sitting there and it was like, hey, well, why don't I at least get something for it, right? Like maybe it'll cover some of my car insurance or still cover some expenses, whatever it is, right? So I kind of just threw it on there, and it brings in a little bit of income every month. Like it's not anything wild, and I'm not expecting it to be, but yeah,
it's passive though. It's passive income, and that's what people should look for. You know what I mean? It's passive income.
100%. So that's basically why that's on there. If other people are looking to build courses, I would say Udemy is a good option if you don't know if your course is like really good or not. Like, why not just throw it on there, get some market feedback? You can get at a pretty good, like, people don't have to pay too much, or you can give it out for free at times to get this feedback. And then you can go improve it. And then if you want to put it on your website, you could do that, right? Like, I had actually put my courses on YouTube. I got all the feedback. I deleted that YouTube one, improved it. That's when I was actually going to put it on my own website. So that's why I also think it's done really well, or why it is produced really well, because I took all the feedback from my first one, what wasn't good, and I improved it. So
Nice.
that's what I would recommend for other people who are maybe making courses. Like, start with Udemy, unless you're just absolutely already crushing it in trading, right? And you have big accounts and you're not too worried. Like, then I wouldn't worry about Udemy, because then if people can see your results, they'll come and go for it. But if you're still kind of newer, you've learned trading and you think you can teach people how to trade at a beginner level at least, I think it's a good option.
Is it free to teach with them?
Yeah, it's free.
Oh, it's free. Okay. Because I know Teachable has like a monthly. Thinkific has a monthly. I didn't know if Udemy had it or not. And I'm actually on your Udemy site now, and it has like out of 5 stars, like 4.7 out of 5 stars. So you're doing a fantastic job. I'm going to have the link in the description here later on when I post it. So the link will be in the description area. But no, I mean, it looks well organized. Like, it looks fantastic. So I mean, you did a great job. You can tell you put a lot of time into it because of the categories you have on there, and like, just, man, like, I give you a lot of credit. You said you have 11.5 hours on demand video, 14 downloadable resources. I mean, that takes time, man, and I give you a lot of credit for that. So I'll have the link on the description for sure down below.
Thank you.
I also wanted, because earlier you mentioned like you trade the lower time frame, and me personally, I can't go any lower than 15 minutes. That's just because how my patience and how I am, right? It's different for everyone. So kind of go into your system now as much as you want. Kind of which time frame do you trade? How do you determine what's your entries, exits, your risk reward, all that good stuff.
Okay, so more of like starting this year, I've kind of gone lower on time frames. I used to always be scared of, like, I was trading the 5 minute a little bit last year, but I usually focused on 1 hour and nothing below that. But as soon as this observation, as soon as I started observing and not actually trading, right? I wasn't taking live trades, because if I was right off the bat on these lower timeframes, I think that's what would have deflated me, I think, right off the bat. But just going down, like, I go down to the 1 minute, right? Just observing price every single day. Again, like, especially on the 1 minute, you're seeing so many candles within 1 hour that how I should take another step back. So why am I trading the 1 minute, right? One for me is, like, the big thing was my time zone. So when I was trading on the 1 hour chart, I was checking my phone every hour. I was checking the computer every hour. Like, I wasn't able to be present in like in my life situation. So like, I'd be with my family and I'm just like always checking my phone, right? Like, where's the chart? Because I'm checking the 1 hour, 4 hour. So it just came to a point where I was like, okay, I'm just going to trade at the start of the day. I'm going to wake up early. Like, okay, I got to get up at 4 a.m. Whatever it is, what it is, right? But I'm going to get up early and I'm just going to trade at the start of the day. I'll have to, if I got to scalp on a lower time frame, I'll scalp on a lower time frame. But I don't want to be worrying about trading for the rest of my day. I don't want it distracting the rest of my life, because like, my friends were noticing, right? My family was noticing. Everybody could see, like, there was something different, something going on. My trading was going okay, but like, yeah, everything else wasn't starting to go okay. So starting to focus on just this time, and like, again, being present on the charts at that time, and observing at that time, like, that's what I started to focus on. How my process works is I will keep daily into consideration. Like, I'm not going to be looking at it like when the daily closes, I'm going to look and see, okay, like where is price likely to go? Like where is liquidity sitting? So I will at least take a look and like set a higher time frame target. And then I'll go right to, like usually from the daily, honestly, I'll go straight down to the 1 hour. And that's when that's still my most important time frame, I would say, in the sense that the 1 hour is like, yeah, I set daily targets, but usually for the most part on the 1 hour is where I'm going to set like my take profits, right? So my daily might have my bigger reach target. And then my 1 hour might have, like I might have because I just recently started taking partials. So some people don't actually know what partials are. So partials are like, you can close parts of your position. Like I can close 25% of my position or 50% of a position at a certain level. So I focus more now on like, I'll use the higher time frame, like the daily, to have a bigger target. And then I'll use the 1 hour to like set these take profit levels. If there's like higher, if I see something major on the higher time frame. Otherwise, I'll just like focus on the 1 hour. I'll just have my main target set. I'll go, so I have two screens. Like on one screen, I'll have 15 minute or 1 hour going. Then on the other screen, I'll have a 1 minute. And I'll be kind of looking back and forth at both, mainly focusing on 1 minute, but I'll check the 15-minute closes and like 1 hour closes. Because to me, those are very, very important. Because structure on the, like what I'm looking for is like 1 hour structure. I'm looking for 1 hour entries. I'm looking for 1 hour setups. But then I go down on the lower time frame and I try to take them then on like the 5 or 1 minute. So that's kind of my focus, is like the 1 hour is going to kind of decide my direction. Am I bearish or bullish? Right? And it's going to be based on mainly the 1 hour, depending on where price is. Right? I'm going to be looking at the closes. If I see prices, like if it's a trade, let's say I would have on the 1 hour taken anyway, like I would have had a 20 or 30 pip stop loss on the 1 hour. I'm just going to look in that same exact location, but on the lower time frame. So I just zoom in and I can reduce my stop loss. That way, even if I am wrong, usually because I'm trading on such a lower time frame using 1 hour structure, I can get break evens most of the time, because the way I trade, it's simple, like supply and demand. It's like buy low, sell high. Yeah. So when prices are near lows, like that's when I'm going to be buying. And luckily, maybe not even luckily, like you usually will tend to see bounces at these lows or highs. The fact that the biggest thing is they don't always follow through. So you might see a reaction, right? And then I'll move my trades to break even. And if they go like 1% in profit at least, move it to break even. And then if it comes back, it hits me out, whatever, right? I'll take a break even. So my main thing is like with my trading is getting the best entries possible in areas that are the highest probability. And then I'm going to try to take as many good entries as I possibly can, and then let my trades kind of run basically from there. So I'm not focusing on, I don't always set take profit, like I shouldn't say I don't always set take profit, but I don't always, like a lot of people, let's say you'll just go for like 1 to 5 or 1 to 4. Yeah. You kind of like set your trade and you go for it. For me, like I might have that 1 to 4 or 1 to 5, but at that point I might only take off like 75, 80%, unless it's like very short term, right? If I'm trading on the 1 minute and I'm only trading within an hour, and I know, I mean, there's so many different things to take into consideration here, right? Like, am I thinking about it? Yeah. Oh yeah, especially on the 1 minute. But for the most part, I will focus on like 1 hour trades to have higher time frame confluence, and I'll have bigger targets. But there's also times in the market where the market's not always going to be like that. And I'm getting to a point where even on the 1 minute where, yeah, I can have more trades like that, where it's like, okay, I'll see that 1 to 5. Even if I'm only going for a 1 to 5 these days, like I still try to keep like 10% of my position on. Just like, let's see where it goes, right? This is something I've kind of just started testing, because you never know, it might just keep going. It could easily be wrong. So the biggest thing I would say with my trading is like how I'm trading on the 1 minute is focusing on high probability areas, buying low, selling high, and trying to move my trades to break even as quick as possible.
That's awesome. So how many pairs do you look at doing this strategy, or you just focus on one pair?
So I usually just focus on one pair, which is $0. Okay. I'll also look at, I just started looking at GU. So up until probably last week, I was only focused on euro dollar and DXY, sorry, I should say. And then now I've kind of implemented GU in there as well. Just because now that I've figured out EU a little bit more, pound, I want to start at least observing. I don't take as many trades on pound, but again, it comes down to that observation. So I have in the morning, there's enough time to be observing at least like 2 pairs, I feel. So even if I'm not able to observe it, even if I'm only trading EU, at least at the end of the day, I can go and like review and see what kind of happened with price action with the GU. Because I think there's going to be times where, like EU, you can see it's in consolidation. It's not going to be going anywhere.
Yeah.
But GU, you might be able to see like, hey, this is definitely bearish, right? Like sometimes you'll get opportunities in one and not the other. As much as they like to move in unison, there's times, actually the last couple of days is actually a great example. Like EU's just been melting down. And the last 2 days, GU, like it made one more push up, took all the stops before it melted. So they move in a little bit different ways. GU, I think, is way more manipulated, which can be a good and a bad thing. Bad thing in the sense that like it can really fuck you over. Good sense in that if you can start to figure out how it's still moving, you can really capitalize on. It can be very, very profitable. I think it's just really hard with G. It's a bit harder with GU for me. Especially with spreads, they're a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
You need a little bit bigger stop losses.
Especially with the pounds,
Yeah, that's what I like about euro dollars, because my spread is around it's like 1.3, 1.2.
Yeah.
So I can get in with like a 3 pip stop loss and still feel like somewhat safe. GU, like a 3 pip stop loss, that's pretty dangerous.
Yeah, it is, because some of those, the spreads can be about 4 or 5 pips. So speaking of spreads and scalping, like what brokers do you use now? What brokers have you used before, especially with scalping? I know a lot of people like to scalp, so I mean, you can't have a broker that's has high spreads if you're trying to scalp.
Yeah, so I'm actually the broker I use is Oanda.
Okay.
And the reason I use them, and I would honestly prefer a different broker. The reason I use them is because I'm in Canada, and there's not many regulated Canadian brokers. So that's one reason. Number two, they connect right to TradingView, which I absolutely love. So that just makes my life a little bit easier. Those are honestly probably the two. The biggest reason is because they're a Canadian broker. It's just easier for me to deal with everything on that end. So I've kind of stuck with them. I haven't tried any other brokers for quite a while. When I first started, I started with Forex.com, and them too, like they're not bad or anything, but they're not great either. There's nothing really special about Forex.com, I would say. And I think they're American, but Oanda worked. I've tried TO Markets and TO Markets. Have you ever heard of TO Markets?
Yeah, I've seen them. I've seen them around. I've heard of them.
Yeah, so they actually had some really good accounts and some good packages. And I tried it for a little bit, and it just wasn't like their spreads are a little bit smaller. So that was one draw for me, because I like trading like 2 pip, 3 pip stop losses, right? Having the smallest spread is definitely beneficial.
Yeah.
Oanda's okay for like EU. I can get like 1.2, 1.5-ish. With TO Markets, it was sometimes around 0.5, 0.4. Like it could get that low, which is actually quite nice. But my trade copier, because I'm trading multiple accounts, my trade copier just like it wasn't working with their broker stuff. So I needed like Oanda. It was working fine with everything. That way I can go take a trade on TradingView. It goes to all my other accounts, and just it's just ease of use for me. Yes, I might need to make my stop loss a pip or 2 or 3 bigger. I'll be extra safe, but for me right now, like ease of use is a bit more important. Once I'm really, really confident, I have bigger accounts, like I do want to switch brokers and go to something that has smaller spread. But right now, I just like my main focus is still, again, consistency. Let me focus on that, consistently crushing it, and then I'll focus on even refining even more. Because I think too many people get caught up in like, especially scalpers, like, oh, I need the smallest stop loss. Like, I need to get these trades perfect. Like, no, you don't. Right? Like, you don't need to be trying to get these like 1 to 10s or whatever some of these huge trades are.
Yeah.
You just need to focus on the small trades and focus on consistency.
Exactly. Consistency is key.
Mm-hmm. And then from there, it's kind of easier. It'll be easier to refine from there, because I've seen people who, yes, they might have a 2 pip stop loss, but the slippage. One of my friends was trading during the president, like when there was when they were changing presidents, when there were the elections and stuff going on in the States, and he had a slippage of like 8%. Right, so he went -8 in one trade, and luckily he didn't have an FTMO account or anything like that at the time, because like if you have a prop trading account, they're taking everything away as soon as you get a -8 loss, right? So you really need to be careful in the sense that it's okay. Yeah, you might have gained an extra couple percent or whatever it is, but it's not worth it that one time where it does slip and then you lose everything.
Exactly. It's funny how you mentioned Forex.com, because I was actually looking into them yesterday. I currently have Ally Investment because they're a U.S. broker, but they're affiliated with Forex.com. And one of the reasons I kind of want to switch to Forex.com because Forex.com is connected to TradingView.
Mm-hmm.
I want to connect to TradingView. I mean, NT4 is cool now, but I want to connect my broker to TradingView. And I saw Oanda, but
they're not American.
Yeah, it's not American. So like you said, the ease. A lot of people don't understand it. A lot of people just want to get into brokers because of the pips here and there. But the ease is a big thing. Customer service, how easy to deposit and withdraw, most importantly, right? So like with the U.S. broker, me being a U.S. resident, like I can deposit instantly for me, and withdraw takes like 2 days max, right? And I don't ever have any problems with them, and it goes directly to either my savings account or my debit card that I use to deposit. And like I know with the offshore broker, it takes 3-4 days, and I got to go through all these verifications. So if you're listening, if you're looking for brokers, ease is a big thing. Customer service, how easy can you? And of course, if they're regulated or not. Don't get caught up with all these affiliate programs that people try to hey, go with this broker, sign up, here's a link, and then that's cool and all. I don't knock on that, but as a new trader, if you're looking for a broker, look what's easy for you, what's regulated, and take it from us, like what everything he said was like you have to really take that into consideration. So I'm glad you mentioned that.
I think a big thing in there as well, like you were saying, a lot of people promote brokers. Like, yeah, we're promoting it, but for us, like there's Oanda or Forex.com, they don't have any affiliate programs or anything of that sort. So it's just because it's working for me, right? Like Forex, I had no issues with Forex.com either. They were good. It's just Oanda worked out a little bit better for me. Yeah, like not much else I can say on that.
I know Forex.com. I looked at it. I saw they had an affiliate program, but you have to actually apply for it. Like most of these brokers, if they're not regulated, they will get you an affiliate link like right away, right? Because they want more people, so they'll give you your own link, and that's how you have to kind of stay away from. Well, at least I know at Forex.com, you have to apply for it, so they won't give you just a link. Like you have to apply for it. So I thought that was pretty cool, but.
Yeah, and they're good. And again, the reason I've had Forex.com and Oanda, the two brokers I've had, exactly, they connect to TradingView.
Yeah.
It's just that ease. Because TradingView, it's going to it calculates your like the right percentage for your trades, right? Like how much do you want your stop to be? How much do you want to risk? So I always just got used to that. I'm not very good at always using a trade calculator, so I like using TradingView.
That's awesome. Yeah, I might really switch to Forex.com just because I can use TradingView. But we'll see. I have no problem with Ally Investment. They've been fantastic. So before I cut this off, tell our viewers where else can they reach you besides Instagram, because I know your website, and I'll have it on the description down low. But where else can they find you?
Yeah, so basically Instagram is like the one place if you really want to reach me, that's where I'll get you the fastest or get back to you the fastest. If you go on my website, www.fearlessfx.com, you can go there, like has just more information on me. It'll connect to my Telegram and other things if you want to chat on there. But I try to keep my ways to communicate with me very small, like limited, because I don't want to be checking a million things. I'm trying to get further and further away from social media these days. So yeah, those are the places you can catch me at.
Yeah, it's always nice. It's always nice to have balance because I know how it feels when you're walking around trying to have dinner and you're looking at your phone. So it's yeah, you gotta have balance for sure. So, but Dilpreet, man, I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule, sharing your knowledge, your experience with everyone who's watching. Everyone who's watching, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. And yeah, again, thank you so much, man. Mahalo for everything.
Thank you, JP. I appreciate it. And I'll just reiterate that again, make sure you subscribe because JP is awesome and it's great content.
I appreciate it. Thank you, everyone.